After spending a couple months hating on the childhood favorites of others who grew up with a PlayStation, I figured it was time to instead hate on one of my own favorites as a Nintendo 64 kid. I know, you saw the title and your first thought was probably,
Blasphemy!
and then your second thought was probably something like, you're an idiot and should have never been born. And to that I would reply, calm down, Mom. But seriously though, let me preface this by saying that this is still one of my favorite games, one of a lot of people's favorite games, and arguably up there on the list of the best games of all time. And even though it breaks my heart to admit it, the title is kinda true. This was Link's first jump to 3D after years of mostly top-down games, and people's expectations were set really high, and those expectations were blown out of the water once the game released. The story, the world, the characters, the dungeons, the items, the whole game, everything was just so well done. And for any of you youngins out there that weren't kids when gaming made that jump from 2D to 3D, I can't even describe how incredible it felt stepping out on the Hyrule field for that first time. Games like this were what we considered open world back then, even though most of that open world was a vast, sparsely populated wasteland that was kinda just there to connect the different dungeons. I mean, it's not like there was nothing to do. You had the Deku Forest, Kakariko Village, Goron City, and the Marketplace, and they were all populated with NPCs you could interact with, minigames to play for prizes that usually weren't required but would help you on your adventure. For its time, this was an incredible living, breathing world. 25 plus years later though, and the game is a little rough around the edges. And I'm not just talking about graphically. Up until recently though, I hadn't really considered that, because even though I was still playing the game a lot, I've been playing mostly randomizer, which has a ton of quality of life improvements built into it. Honestly, until I made this video, I never paid attention to just how many randomizers I've played since I discovered it in 2022. Oh wait, shit, wrong folder. Honestly, until I made this video, I never paid attention to just how many randomizers I've played since I discovered it in 2022. Even when I play a non-randomized game, I still use the vanilla ROM that comes with everything in the correct spot but just includes those game improvements. Recently though, I decided since it's been so long, I may as well load up the legit vanilla game and see just how it plays today after not playing it for a pretty long time. Let's just say that when I think of this game, my brain definitely glosses over some of the less than amazing game mechanics within. So here we go. Ocarina of Time in 2025. Let's go over some of the sucky parts of this otherwise masterpiece of a game.
Let's go!
I'm going to combine the frame rate and the lag together as one thing. This game only runs at 20 frames per second, 30 frames per second in the menus, and a lot of times it struggles to even hold that 20. It's especially bad when there's water on screen.
Don't forget to bring a towel!
For whatever reason, the N64 just had a really hard time with water in every game I remember. I think this is a big factor in why so many people hate the Water Temple so much. Don't get me wrong, Water Temple has more than just one reason to hate it, but I think this is a big one. The whole temple is basically a giant puzzle that involves you playing the ocarina in specific spots to change the water level to access certain areas. And yeah, after you know what you're doing, because you've played this game 100 times, you can just change the water like 2 full cycles in a regular game. But still, combine that with having to watch the water raise every time, and then everything just being so slow in here, that just makes this one very frustrating. Block pushing is another thing that just seems needlessly drawn out. In current gen games, this is one of the tricks they use to help disguise loading screens, but I don't think that's something that was needed for an N64 cart-based game. Here, it does nothing but make me sit there and grit my teeth at how agonizingly slow it can be. Like, come on dude, put your back into it. The fact that the bunny hood is cosmetic only in this game is a major disappointment too. I'm so spoiled by the fact that Rando has it programmed the same way as it is in Majora's Mask, where it actually makes you run faster. In fairness, in the vanilla game, by the time you would get this, you're already done with the bulk of the child stuff, but it would still be nice to have that for at least the bottom of the well and Child Spirit and just doing a little bit of the overworld cleanup afterwards. Along with slow gameplay, there's also the slow-moving text. I do my best to button mash it, but even then, it's redonkulously slow sometimes.
Holy Jesus.
So if it's your first time playing or something and you want to get the story exposition, then maybe it's not as bad. But even then, it's still kinda bad because it's just way too slow. Like, if this is your reading comprehension speed, then you shouldn't be playing video games anyway. You need to go read a book. By far, the worst offender is the owl. This friggin' guy traps you in conversation every time you run into him. He's like your great uncle that you thankfully only have to see once every 10 years or so, but when you do, all you're thinking in the back of your mind is, my god, why has no one murdered this guy yet? Like, people get murdered all the time. Why not him? Why do I have to sit here and just put a smile on my face and nod for 45 minutes? Oh, boo-hoo, I'm old and my kidneys don't work anymore. Ugh. Am I in your will? No? Well, then I don't care. Even worse yet, some psychopath at Nintendo decided to give dialogue options to him that can make him repeat himself, and if you accidentally pick the wrong choice because you're not paying attention, he says it all again.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Guarantee at some point in speedrunning history, someone screwed up and accidentally picked the wrong choice and ended up losing their run by 5 seconds or something, all because they were button mashing too close to the sun. Along with him is Navi. Hey, listen! Is burned into the minds of so many of us, and every time she says it, I just want to grab a fly swatter and go ham on her. Again, for first time players, stopping to have her explain how to do stuff might be helpful, but after playing this game 50-11 times, I don't need to have her tell me that I can climb vines. The constant menuing is something else that not only Randomizer but the 3DS remakes helped improve on, at least a little bit. In the OG game though, you repeatedly have to go into the menu and change your items and later on your equipment too. We only have 3 C buttons for items and I so wish we had all 4. I would gladly give up first-person view for one more slot, and as a bonus, then I'd have no way of talking to Navi. Win, win, win. It gets even more annoying once the boots come into play. As I said, the Water Temple has plenty of reasons to hate it, and this is another one of the biggies. It's just a constant loop of put the boots on for a few seconds, do one thing, then take them off for a few seconds, and then put them back on, over and over and over and over. Luckily, Shadow Temple later on doesn't require it as much with the hover boots, but it's still required just enough to be annoying. This thankfully was improved on later with the 3DS version where they added them to the D-pad and then Randomizer followed suit. So even though the D-pad is an inconvenient location on a standard N64 controller, it's still much better than having to constantly pause. Some of the cutscenes in this game are pretty long. Starting right out of the gate, the first one just seems to go on forever. And also the Deku Tree one. Like, bro, it's a tree. I don't care that much about it. The Master Sword one is also really long, and it's a multi-part scene too. And then, let's not forget this son of a bitch. At the end of the game, we also have the Tower Escape, which functions sorta like a glorified cutscene, broken up with short bits of gameplay mixed in. You gotta make your way out of the castle with Princess Zelda as the whole thing's collapsing around you. Her pathfinding isn't great though, so a lot of times she'll just stop and stand there and stare at you like you're the idiot, and act like it's your fault the two of you have stopped. Don't look at me like that, I'm not the one that's getting stuck here on the geometry. There was one exception to this, though. As much as I hate the unskippable cutscenes, I did watch the ending for the first time in a while, and it still hits. The music's just perfect, and it does serve as a great wrap-up to your adventure. The part at the end where everyone's partying and King Zora and Mito look up at the sky all sad. That brought back some feelings in me or something, I'm not gonna lie.
You remember feelings, right? Yeah, I have feelings every single day of my life. Do you? Are you saying you don't have feelings?
Backtracking is a part of a lot of games, and it can be fine, but there's a difference between backtracking to an area to get some kind of important item upgrade or something, compared to just having to go back for one thing that you don't actually need unless you're an obsessive person who has to 100% the game. I'm particularly talking about the gold Skulltulas. You only need 50 to get all the main rewards in the game, but there are 100 overall. The reward you get for all 100 is being able to call yourself a completionist nerd. Nerd! Oh, and you get the big replenishing rupee too, but by the time you've gotten this far, you don't really have any need for rupees anymore. The ones that particularly annoy me are the ones in the Deku Tree and Dodongo's Cavern. You can do 99% of both of these on your first pass, but you just don't have the items you need to get those last Skulltulas on the first try. I'm impatient enough that I do usually cheat to get that one on the upper ledge in Dodongo's Cavern before you're supposed to, but the other ones you can't get without the boomerang. Or hookshot if you want to wait to come back to Dodongo when you're an adult. A few of the minigames and side quests are just overly padded. This is another thing that if I was playing for the first time I probably wouldn't be as irritated by. But after multiple playthroughs, yeah, it's a little much. Some, like the Dompe race and Gerudo archery, have two different prizes depending on your score or your time. And even if you get the better time or score on your first try, you still have to do it the second time to get the other reward. Dumb. Speaking of fucking Dompe, that Quasimodo looking fucking his fucking graveyard digging fucking minigame. Him. This one can take forever, and it's completely RNG dependent, which means that if you run out of rupees and have to go get more, when you come back, the RNG starts all over again, so it can take forever. Thank God Randomizer makes it so you always get the reward first try, though. There's also 2 bottle quests that have you collecting things, and it's just too many. You get the one for collecting chickens in Kakariko, and okay, this one isn't horrible, but it's still a bit of a slog. Especially because you have to use chickens to get a couple of the other chickens, and then you have to hope that the original chicken that you used to get that chicken didn't fly off and get lost or something. And then you have the big pose. There's 10 of these you have to collect, and at the most you have 3 bottles, so you gotta make a minimum of 4 trips back to turn them in. And let's not disregard the fact that simply getting these poses is a pain. They sometimes only seem to stay spawned for like 3 seconds before they disappear. Or they'll spawn inside a wall or something and then you can't even shoot them, so you gotta loop back and find the trigger and wait and try again. The last one I hate is that Forest Ocarina memory game. My god, I don't know if it's the technology addiction or ADHD or something else, but I have absolutely no short-term memory anymore. So the whole time I'm doing this one, I'm white-knuckle gripping the controller and trying my best to focus and pay attention, but my brain just randomly goes all,
Plastic bag, plastic bag, plastic bag.
I would include the one with the adult frogs too, but I'll admit I have no shame and I just pull up the solution for that one and read it off my phone. The timing for this one is ridiculously tight and I'm not messing around with it anymore, so I just do it the easy way. Well, there you go. That's my list of gripes from a modern day lens about a game from 4 console generations ago. All in all, despite those issues, I still think the game holds up pretty well today. In the grand scheme of the game, those amounted to mostly minor annoyances that newer game makers have removed over the years because of feedback from players. It's always hard to compare games from past eras to current day standards. I mean, that would have been the equivalent of if it was back in 1998 and we were comparing this game to what came before it. Like back then, you wouldn't have been able to fault Super Mario Bros. 3 for its lack of 3D graphics, since that wasn't even remotely possible when that one came out. So yeah, even though it was a little rough playing without those quality of life improvements, I still love this game. I used to play it about once a year or so, and then once I started playing Randomizer, it was as if a new life was breathed into the game, and I play it now more than ever. And the thing is, back when I used to play it once a year-ish, I don't remember any of this stuff really bothering me. That's just how the game was, and I didn't think any differently until I started playing this updated version. Having now played both the original version and the randomizer with the upgrades back-to-back kinda, I would say the better way to play is the randomizer if you have the ability to play that way. Even without randomizing stuff, just the improvements in the game make it a lot better. With that though, you'll either have to play it on an emulator or you'll have to get an N64 flash card if you want to play on original hardware, but it's pretty simple to do. I don't want to put a link to the randomizer site or anything just in case, since I know Nintendo can be a cunt about their IPs, but it's not hard to find. And on that note, thanks for watching, and now I'm going to end the video here and go practice playing on my new Ocarina. Because even though I'd sworn recently that I was done buying random stupid crap, as I was making this video I thought to myself, I wonder how much an Ocarina costs. Well, one Walmart order, $18.99, and 3 days later, and it even came with a little handy-dandy music book, so let's see if we could do some happy birthday here. Wait, that didn't sound right. What was that?